Hello. Good afternoon, everybody, slash morning, slash evening. I'm sure for at least, well, there's 5 of us in here now, but I'm sure the room will grow. Thank you for joining me. Apologies for the slightly late starting, starting 10 minutes later than scheduled. My PC just decided to do something really weird. And actually, it wasn't my PC, it's my multi-pin adapter just blew out on me, so I've had to scramble and find sockets to plug my lights in. And you guys would be shocked if you saw my studio how much stuff I have to plug in to get this going. But in saying that, I wish we could finish the sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, in saying that, we're here now and we're starting, and today's video is a bit of a follow-up on yesterday's video, where essentially what I want to do is I want to move us away from what essentially is this kind of witch hunt and this fabricated massive overreaction to the Jason Arday. And to even call it a scandal just seems absolutely ridiculous. The one thing I'm not seeing, and this is the sad thing, from many people in the Black community, is the ability to think critically about what's taken place and to identify, irrespective of there being some impropriety on the part of Dr. Arday. If you want to make the claim, by the way, no one's actually proven any of this, but if you want to make the claim that his backstory is too extraordinary to be true, and I don't think that's the case, to be totally honest with you, believing that's the case and believing that he deserves what is essentially this massive media witch hunt, as though he's committed the worst crime, it's still dominating the headlines, is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that we just need to have the common sense to understand that this is a far right attack. This is a fascistic attack on Blacks in academia, using Jason Arday as a proxy. And you have to understand, when it comes to the media, and I've said this very, very strongly in the previous live streams, is they don't care about actual facts and truth. And they'll get people who are the most eloquent, the most well-spoken, the most articulate to eloquently put forward arguments as to why it's okay to, defame a person in this way, to bully a person in the way that's being done to Jason Arday. But it won't contain any facts, it won't contain any truth. It sounds like it's a good argument, it sounds like a good story, it sounds like, yeah, this sounds justified. But then when you actually hear them laying forward what their argument is, kind of like, so what? So flipping what? And nothing typifies this more than their contrasting treatment of people who are essentially in a far worse position than Jason Arday in terms of their abuse of power, in terms of their academic fraud, in terms of them being caught literally red-handed, caught with their hands in the cookie jar, doing disgusting things. And I'm going to expose one Dr. William OReilly today, because he is a perfect juxtaposition for what's taken place with Jason Arday. This is someone who is a professor who's at the same university, the University of Cambridge. But unlike Jason Arday, his accusations are not accusations. He's been proven guilty in a number of things. And I touched on the one element of his guilt yesterday, and that one element of his guilt was his plagiarism. What I didn't know when I did yesterday's live stream is that this guy is guilty of a hell of a lot more, and there's no outcry. And one of the things I've said in previous live streams, listen to this, one of the things I've said in previous live streams is that in England, and I think the same is true in America, you'll find that these fascistic white men will always claim that they're doing what they can. We're protecting our nation. We're protecting our children. And I've got like an entire video about the fact that they don't care about their nation. They don't care about their children. They're not trying to protect them from anything. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that only they can commit crimes. So it's not a case of we don't want our women being abused. We don't want our children being abused. It's more a case of we want to be the only ones abusing our women and children. It's not a case of we don't want our women, marrying. We don't want our women reproducing. It's a case of no, only we want to marry and reproduce with our women. These people are literally disgusting. And you know this is the truth because when white males, white men, normally in power, sometimes not in power, just normal white men, but when they get caught doing things like unaliving, essaying, predding, yeah, hopefully you can read between the lines of all those things that I've listed, you'll find that these same fascistic white males will go to their defense, even if they're doing it to white girls, white women. They don't care. They don't care. It's like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure you've got the right person? It's like they don't care about them. And there's no better poster child for this kind of protectionism in the white community than this Dr. William OReilly, who has been proven guilty of plagiarism in the most heinous way, as I showed you in the previous videos, but also allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly in inverted commas, has done a lot more. And I'm going to show you and I'm going to expose the double standards that exist. And this should really highlight to you the fact that what's happening to Dr. Arday is not fair. And that's why I'm not interested. People are like, oh, well, have you done the research of do a comparison of his papers? And if you see, like, he claimed this on a TV show, but I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, to me, it's not a crime. And if it was a crime, it's a victimless crime. Please stop telling me what this guy did or didn't do. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They took him for that job. He should still be professor as far as I'm concerned. And I don't care about all of this crap that you're talking about, because there is a long list of disgusting professors in Cambridge University who are doing 20 times worse, who are 10 times more academically culpable, and who have got moral flaws that make Dr. Jason Arday's moral flaws seem like flipping, you know what I mean? Seem like benefits, seem like, it's things that you would aspire to. They all make Dr. Jason Arday seem like an angel. So we're going to do a comparison here. We're going to do, and you guys are going to see that when it comes to Britain and the British people, they are racist, they are hypocrites, and they do not care about their population. Just like they sat there and they watched Jimmy Savile savage his way through innocent children, innocent, misfortunate, socioeconomically deprived children. They watched this guy savage his way through, and they knew he was doing it. It wasn't like, oh, he died and then suddenly, oh my God, Jimmy Savile's a predator. Like, no, you knew that from the start. They knew it. They knew it, and he used to do his crimes in the BBC studios, if I haven't mentioned that before. And if you don't know who Jimmy Savile is, feel free to Google him, anyone who doesn't know who he is. He used to do his crimes in the BBC studios, and the managing directors and all of the people, all of the senior people, BBC staff, knew what was taking place. And they'd be like, no, you can't go in there. Jimmy's there. He's busy. And it was like their little in-joke. Disgusting. So don't let them fool you and act like these people are like, like I said, this more selective moral outrage. They don't have a shred of morality. None of these people who are leading this anti-Dr. Jason Arday brigade have got a shred of morality. They're not moral people, because if they were moral people, the videos that I'm about to show would make them drop Dr. Jason Arday and would make them completely about face and say, no, let's focus on Dr. William OReilly. That's what this video should do. If by the end of this video, you're someone who is perhaps happy to see the downfall of Dr. Jason Arday, you're someone who perhaps support the fact that he should be removed from his position and he should be embarrassed in the way that he's being embarrassed. If you haven't at least got equal, if not more smoke for Dr. William OReilly by the end of this, then you are probably heavily conditioned or a racist. And I'm going to put that accusation to you. That being said, let's get this underway. And nothing that I'm going to say is hidden. And this is one of the reasons why it's really important to know these things weren't like, you know, like I said, they weren't like being hidden. They just weren't reported on. The media is very selective about who they vilify, who they demonize. Remember, the rule is to demonize blacks and to humanize whites who do the same crime. So let's watch this. This is video, by the way, is 6 years old, and we're going to build into it. In fact, you know what? Let's start off with the article that I think I was going to show you yesterday. Let's finish this one because this one overviews the Cambridge professor remains in post despite plagiarism. Let's talk about the plagiarism first of all, and then we'll jump into the video. So let's read this article from the Financial Times. So Cambridge professor remains in post despite plagiarism. History Academic published an article containing large parts of essays copied from one of his students, and we showed you the examples. We're talking large parts, 12 pages verbatim in an article. We don't know how long it was. 12 verbatim pages. Can you imagine that? Absolutely horrendous. He didn't even try. So let's look at this. A Cambridge University professor who copied parts of an undergraduate's essay and published them as his own work will remain in his job, despite an investigation upholding a complaint that he had committed plagiarism. Dr. William OReilly, Dr. William OReilly, an associate professor in early modern history, submitted a paper that was published in the Journal of Austrian American History in 2018. However, large sections of the work had been copied from essays by one of his undergraduate students. So remember, we talked about the fact that yesterday that from 2 submissions, so 2 different studies by this student, and he put them together into one study. And I guess he thought that was his honorable contribution, you know, running a line of prick stick down the middle of the page and say, look, this is my work. Yes, you may have done all the writing, you may have come up with the research, but you didn't come up with the ingenious plan to put these together and then to submit them to a journal. So therefore, I actually deserve all of the accolades. The decision to leave OReilly in the post cast doubt on the internal disciplinary processes of Cambridge, which rely on academics judging their peers. So he was judged by a panel of his peers. Let's continue. The plagiarism was discovered in 2021 when the former student came across the article and informed the university, providing evidence that entire pages of the paper had been lifted almost verbatim from 2 of his essays. Plagiarism is deemed to be serious or gross misconduct by the university, which states that it will normally merit dismissal according to the university's misconduct policy. But after a 2-year investigation, OReilly remains in his role after a university disciplinary tribunal ruled the plagiarism was the product of negligent acts but was not deliberate. When we covered this yesterday, they called it negligent. How can it be negligent? There's nothing passive about this. There's just no way you can say 12 pages of verbatim text being copied is negligent. And we talked about the fact that the journal itself said, no, this is straight up plagiarism, and they removed it. So the journal knew how to act honorably. Unfortunately, Cambridge University did not. OReilly had previously been involved in a matter that raised questions about the governance of the university and led to the resignation of a senior academic administrator. Tortoise, an independent news outlet, revealed that OReilly had been permitted to lead disciplinary processes into sexual allegations at Trinity Hall, the Cambridge college to which he had been affiliated, even after he himself was accused by a student of SA. So he was, imagine this, they hired him to lead the disciplinary processes into another lecturer's SA charges or SA accusations, but he himself had already been accused of SA. So the conflict of interest here is just vile. This is an old boys club. This is a racket of protectionism, and this gets so much worse, guys. This will get so much worse. It's unbelievable. So this guy, who not only is you might as well call him convicted plagiarizer, like he's admitted it, and the university has said this is plagiarism. The only difference between, why is my video frozen? Oh, my video is doing a weird thing. I feel like it's going to be doing that weird thing where it cuts my video off. I hope you can still hear me. I don't know why I did that. I had a similar problem to this last time. It's actually very bizarre. I feel like it's going to continue doing this. Yeah, I feel like it might continue doing this, but let's hope it doesn't. But yeah, lost my trail of thought now. Yeah, anyway, let me carry on. O'Reilly denies the allegations, which led to no further action being taken against him. One university employee who spoke on, oh, by the way, this article it links to, which was in a publication called Tortoise, has been taken down now. But luckily, I was able to find an alternative publication that spoke about it called Varsity, which we're going to read. So you've got to be able to read about these allegations and be prepared to feel very sick. So imagine this guy is not only, like I said, I was saying this is what I was saying, a convicted plagiarizer. He is also accused of essay. Now, guys, I just want to flip this around. Yeah, let's flip this story around quickly, because this entire, I'm not kind of like a smear campaign leader. I'm not interested in these kind of like personal politics or attacks on people, although I think this guy's vile and I think he should be removed. But that's an aside. This is about Jason Arday for me. And I want you guys to imagine if Jason Arday's rap sheet was even a quarter of this man's rap sheet. Like, he would have been ousted a long time. Like, there wouldn't have been any question. In fact, let me flip that around. That's I gave that analogy backwards. Rather than saying it that way, let me say it this way. If Jason Arday was William OReilly, if you switched them around right now, and the only accusation they had against him is one solitary person claiming that he had plagiarized, would we have heard of him? Do you think we'd know William OReilly's name? No, because he's done what Jason Arday is accused of, sorry, plus 100 more. Like, he's just well out there. His crime, his rap sheet is just like out of this world. And yet you've never heard of him. We wouldn't have heard of him unless this, you know, this big scandal had kicked up. Newspapers don't want to put his face on the front covers. Telegraph, all of these outlets, the Times, who are covering this with, like, you know, almost relentlessly trying to drag him down. They've all got nothing. There's no anti-woke, anti-DEI, none of this. This is the most protected an individual could be, and yet they claim that Black people are protected by this, you know, this vague DEI god who keeps us all safe. That seems really realistic. One university employee who spoke on condition of anonymity acknowledged that the internal process on plagiarism had been followed, but said there is a fair bit of disgruntlement about it. That's a euphemism. Cambridge said it would be inappropriate to comment in detail on allegations against a member of staff. The article in question had been withdrawn from the journal, it added. Oh, it's inappropriate to comment on it. Why? Why would it be inappropriate to comment? He published the article. What are you talking about? He made it available for public consumption. This is a public matter now. A panel of independent members of the university has considered the issue, and the matter is now concluded. We will not be commenting further. It did not comment on how the tribunal reached the decision that the plagiarism was accidental. Yeah, accidental. That was the conclusion was that it was accidental plagiarism. I don't need to make a joke about this. I feel like I exhausted my humor on this matter yesterday. Documents seen by the Financial Times included 2 essays submitted by a third-year student, showing nearly half of the pages of O'Reilly's published article entitled "Frederick Jackson blah blah blah" had been plagiarized. The documents also show that O'Reilly read and praised the original essay. So we read this yesterday. Okay, so I'm not going to go on about that because that's yesterday's news. All right. And we're going to move on from yesterday's news to today's news, because this entire scandal, the O'Reilly scandal, gets deeper and darker the further you look. So I'm going to play to you this 4-year-old news article about Cambridge University and harassment that has taken place. I'm going to speed up as well. So this is what's taken place 6 years ago at Cambridge University.
In July, this programme revealed a 4-fold rise in the number of rape or sexual assault claims being made at Britain's universities.
By the way, just hit a 1 in the chat if you heard that playing when I just hit play there. And I'm going to carry on letting it play. 1 if you can hear it, 2 if you can't, just so I know it's working okay.
And it emerged that there were 165 reports over 3 years at Cambridge alone. We spoke to one woman anonymously who said when she made her claim of rape to the university, it failed to support her.
I think he said that there was a page in the Freshers Guide that had some numbers on and that I should look at that. But that was it. I ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder. I couldn't get out of bed. And I just felt totally unsafe.
The University of Cambridge told us that since that case, they've launched a Breaking the Silence initiative and an anonymous reporting tool to encourage students to come forward. That accounted for the large increase in reports, they said.
Since 2016, we now have made provision for sexual misconduct within our disciplinary.
You know what I'm thinking already. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but you know you were thinking it too. Let's be honest, yeah? We're all thinking the same thing right about now. Let's carry on.
Processes, I am confident that we are in a position to fully support all our students.
Channel 4 News has now spoken to 3 women who have made complaints since Cambridge launched its new initiative. They still feel the university isn't doing enough. Well, earlier I spoke to one of those women, a former student called Danny Bradford. She lodged a formal complaint after being harassed. She says she was bombarded with messages, sometimes up to 50 a day, many laced with sexual innuendo. Although other women have made harassment and sexual assault allegations, hers is the only one the university has upheld since it launched its new campaign 3 years ago. She says she, like other women, have felt under pressure to drop their complaints, and the university's disciplinary process itself left her feeling extremely vulnerable. She's now suing the University of Cambridge under the Equality Act, saying she's the victim of discrimination. I began by asking about the toll the ordeal took.
I started having really bad panic attacks. I couldn't walk on the street that the building where my lectures was on without having a panic attack. I wasn't attending my lectures or my practical sessions. It got to the point where I
just want to pause it there really quickly. I'm not going to pause this video a lot because I think it speaks for itself. But imagine if the person accused here was a Pakistani or a black, yeah? I'm saying that deliberately like that, okay? Or a black, yeah? Imagine if it was a black or a Pakistani or a group of black or Pakistani lecturers that these girls, they're supposed to be the predator groups, aren't they? Yeah? Oh no, those dangerous immigrants who are predating our children. Oh, no, sorry, it's a cabal of the usual suspects that you guys pretend do not exist because you don't care about justice for these girls. You don't care about justice for these girls. You don't. They don't care about that. They're just okay. Oh, but it's white men. Oh, it's just a part of life. Get on with it. What are you moaning about? In fact, they probably don't like these girls. They probably actually are angry at these girls for bringing for name of white men. That's what I think. I actually think that this girl is probably had less support from the white male community than support. I think less white men have stood shoulder to shoulder with this girl in solidarity. Most of them are like, oh, another false accusation. Oh, no, because they feel threatened by the fact that people would stand up and would speak out against, the predatory nature of many of their acts. It's very much an in-group, out-group thing for them. So I always say this, it's never about protecting women. And this is why foolish women who kind of like, align themselves with these nationalists, these white nationalists, thinking that they want your protection. No, they don't. They want to isolate you. And when they isolate you, they're going to do whatever they want to you. So this is me now speaking. I don't normally do this, but let me just throw out a little tidbit to the white nationalist community, the women in there. These men do not want to protect you. They want to isolate you and abuse you, because that is the pattern of white nationalism. That's what they do. That's the reason feminism exists, because they spent 100 years of total domination treating you like doormats. That's not our culture. It's less so Islamic culture. It's 100% white nationalist Christian culture to abuse their women. And that's why you worked with, you know, the Black community and other communities to free yourself from that oppression, to push your feminism laws through. Yeah, because these men will isolate you and they will abuse you. Anyway, let me let you continue.
Said, I'm going to have to drop out because I can't continue with my degree. And at that point, one of my friends said to me, well, if you're going to drop out anyway, then you might as well try and take a formal complaint forwards.
And what were you told about the repercussions of making this complaint?
I was told that I should think about it very carefully, making a complaint, because it could affect my place in my department and any kind of future career that I wanted to go to. And I'd say, no, I'm absolutely sure. And they'd say, just take a week to think about it. Like, you really don't have to.
So the man you accused.
So she's being discouraged by the university of taking the accusation forward.
Was found guilty of harassment. You went ahead with a complaint. Was it a comfort to you that you had secured that verdict?
The only sanctions that were put in place were an apology letter and no contact.
Why did you feel that fell short?
If a procedure is re-traumatizing, if it is discriminatory, if the result of the procedure does not make anyone more safe than they were before, then it being upheld isn't enough. There was no sanctions put in place to protect this from happening to other people. And I felt that the fact that they hadn't even put in a training course, there was no aspect of restorative justice either. Even after the complaint was upheld, I was in order to enforce the no contact rule, they banned me from certain buildings. So I had to say to my lecturers, I can't come to your supervision because I'm banned from that building, but I wasn't allowed to explain why because of the confidentiality.
Can you believe that? So when her complaint was upheld and they decided, yes, you have been the victim of SA, the result was to ban her or restrict her movement around the university to stop her from bumping into the person who did it to her, as opposed to restrict him and to ensure that he changes his diary to make sure he's never in contact with her. So basically just turn the victim into the perpetrator as a reward for being assaulted by this member of staff. You can't make this stuff up. And obviously we as Black people right now, we are very empathetic of this lady, because this is exactly what they do. This is what they do. They take the people who are being mistreated. They take the people who they're stealing from. They take the people who they are wrongly blaming for things they haven't done. And then they turn around and it makes it seem like they are actually the criminal. So this girl is being criminalized for her attempt to get justice. This is, you know, now it doesn't matter what race you are, this story should disgust you. But I guarantee you, there's a whole bunch of white males who are going to come into my chat later and they have no interest in solidarity for this female. They're going to come, they're going to attack my work, they're going to attack this research, they're going to attack this discussion, because they don't care. They pretend they care and they do not care. They are the worst of the predators. And I'm obviously not talking about all white males, I'm talking about these specific fascistic type, these, you know, nationalist types. They all have this personality trait. They see women as objects. So just interesting. Once again, bringing this back to the Dr. Arday thing. This is taking place in Cambridge University. One of the people who's accused of doing this very thing has also committed massive amounts of plagiarism dating back from, I think was it 2006 to 2016, so a 10-year span. So it's been doing plagiarism for 20 years, approaching 20 years. We're talking about at least the accusations for Dr. William OReilly. 20 years worth of plagiarism. Not a single front page. He's never made front page. I doubt he's even made the middle pages of most broadsheet papers. But one black man gets an accusation, eugenicist, about his work being plagiarized that's not held up by anyone of repute. And the entire media world converges on this man, talking about what a scammer he is, this, that, and the other. And everyone now just thinks Dr. Arday has never gained a qualification in his life because of the way they're spinning the narrative. This man who's worked so much harder and is so much more intelligent, so much more accomplished than all of these people who are putting their dirty mouths on him, they haven't done anything. You know, at the end of the day, I respect Dr. Arday. I love what I do, and I consider myself an intelligent person. I work very hard. I'm not as qualified as he is. He's more qualified than me. I'm not going to take the fact that people have found flaws in his PhD as an opportunity to shit on him. He's qualified. He deserves my respect. As a black man, I know how hard it is to get to the position that he's got to, and to have people destroying your reputation, destroying your career, attempting to pull you down. A lot of black people are doing it as well, because they can be just as jealous and just as vile as anybody else. So don't get it twisted. A lot of them are out there, and they'll use this as an opportunity to make content, to entertain people, to show, hey, I'm smarter. I wouldn't have done it that way. I hate those kind of blacks. Oh, if I had done it, I would have done it. Oh, Mugabe, he shouldn't have kicked out. He should have been more. Oh, shut your stupid, useless mouth. You wouldn't do nothing. These stupid, useless blacks who do nothing for nobody. I hate them. I very much do hate them. They do nothing. They stand up for nothing. They just repeat whatever the media says when it comes out, and then talks about how they would do better. But if you look at their track record in life, they've stood up for nothing and for no one ever. These would be the same people who would be calling for Malcolm X's arrest. They would be celebrating at the unaliving of Martin Luther King. They would have been, these are the same people. Do you understand? They're the same people. They're not about us, and they're not about our progress, to be very, very clear.
And you were told by the university specifically not to speak about the case. What was the reason given?
It was made very explicit to me that if I told anyone, and that included friends and family, about what had happened, about the fact I was taking a complaint, and then even after, about the outcome of the complaint, that I was at risk of being charged with harassment myself.
Where did that warning come from? That
when I asked, they said it came from the top, but I tried to get clarification in an email on what that meant, and they wouldn't provide it.
But what are they trying to protect here? What's at stake for Cambridge?
I think their image. I think that they care more about PR and their image and what the media might say than the safety of their students.
I mean, Cambridge, I'm sure, if they were here, would say that the complaints process worked. He had to make an apology.
And to be clear as well, I'm not sure what the economic background of this young lady is. But bear in mind, this is Cambridge University. This isn't like a college student who's in, they're kind of like it's compulsory for her to get education. This isn't compulsory education years, although she looks incredibly young. This girl has had to work incredibly hard. We know that because she goes to Cambridge. Even as she's had to attain certain grades. And I'd imagine she's probably not of the manner born. She probably, comes from probably a working class, from the way they're treating her, from a working class background, I'd imagine. And they've just ruined her life, or at least they're in the process of ruining her life. And they don't care. They really don't care. I have to press how little these people care about their own people, so to speak.
They would say that proves justice was done. How do you respond to that?
I think that if the sanctions are not proportional to the events, and if nothing's done to protect the people involved and the wider university community, then that process isn't working.
How worried are you about speaking out now?
I don't know if it will mean I'll be charged with harassment, but I'd made a decision that I was not comfortable leaving the university and carrying on with my life when I knew that people currently at the university were still potentially in danger.
You've had this hanging over you. Against that backdrop, you've completed your degree. How can you view the future now?
I'm hoping that the case that I'm taking against the university will see some concrete changes, and that I will be able to come away from this with some sense of closure. But I think
and I want to give this girl a bit of a shout out, because it's important to do stuff like this. the UK is not like America. You don't get big financial windfalls in America. Where America's very much kind of like a libel community where you can kind of always like sue them and then you can walk out and you get awarded £250,000, £1 million. That doesn't happen in the UK. We don't have any of those kinds of windfalls, even private cases. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's not a part of the UK legal system. In the UK legal system, if you are taking someone to court, it's for justice. It's to see them, often fines will be menial, okay, or they'll be calculated from salaries, okay. The idea of the kind of windfall payments, it just doesn't happen. It's not a part of the UK system. So the fact that she's doing this, in spite of graduating, means that she just genuinely wants justice. This is not someone who's looking for a power. This is someone who genuinely wants to make sure that no other women go through what she's gone through. And I absolutely 100% commend her for that. She deserves a lot of respect. I need to follow this case up and see if the outcomes were positive from it, if she managed to get anything from it, although, Dr. O'Reilly is still in this position. So I would suggest it hasn't been that successful. But shout out to this woman, for what she's been through, because these old boys clubs destroy all. Do you know what I'm saying? They destroy all of us.
It will be a long time before I will ever associate university with much more than the time that I was harassed and then re-victimized.
Jenny Bradford, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we put these claims to the University of Cambridge. In a response, a spokesperson told us the University of Cambridge takes the personal safety of its students very seriously, adding it encourages students to be realistic about the reporting processes and their possible outcomes.
I also would think that one of the reasons the University of Cambridge has got this kind of protectionism is because of its elite nature, because it's this place that everyone wants to go to. It's got a very, very like ultra selective cohort, possibly one of the most selective cohorts in the world. You can imagine how much superiority they feel in relation to all of their students. Like, you're lucky to be here, and I imagine they're reminded every day, how lucky you are to be in this institution, how lucky you are to be here. And that is what creates this kind of environment of impunity for the staff. That's probably why they feel so brave, and that's probably why you're getting this large number of accusations coming out from this institution and this protectionism that these lecturers are getting.
It said the process is designed to investigate whether university rules have been breached, and if so, to impose proportionate sanctions, and that students have every right to discuss their experience of the disciplinary process. If they disclose the identity of the person against whom he or she is complaining, the complainant may risk laying themselves open to a counter-complaint of harassment.
Absolutely disgusting. So I hope you were suitably disgusted by that, because that was literally my intention. I just wanted to discuss you, yeah? And I want to also continually bring this discussion back to the topic that we're having, the broader discussion that we're having around Dr. Jason Arday, who has been accused of something that is literally menial in comparison to sitting lecturers in the University of Cambridge. Am I condemning the University of Cambridge for this? Absolutely. But who I'm condemning even more is the media, because they don't care. They don't care about the real villains. They don't care about they've never cared. They've never had this much interest in academia. They've never had interest in justice. This is not about justice and what's right and what's wrong. This is about getting the black out. Getting that black man out of that position that he doesn't belong in. He made us all feel uncomfortable. We want to believe that DEI is the reason that black people are sent to high places. And yet, when you've got a white person who clearly is a cheat, who clearly doesn't deserve to be in their position, who clearly is a serial plagiarizer, and on top of that is someone who's predatory in their role, media silence. Complete and utter media silence. It's absolutely disgusting. Let's read this next article. Student slams Cambridge over handling of essay misconduct cases. Don in charge of student welfare at Trinity Hall gave evidence on behalf of male student accused of you-know-what. Hundreds of Cambridge students have accused the university of a complete failure to deal with complaints of essay misconduct after an investigation that raised concerns about a conflict of interest among academics. In a letter signed by more than 500 current and former students, Cambridge University Students' Union Women's Campaign has called for colleges to be stripped of their powers to investigate sexual essay misconduct complaints against their own members. So can you imagine? We're going to investigate it and we're going to decide whether or not it's founded. This is disgusting. I think the police should be involved. I don't understand why they're allowed to investigate this, you know, outside of it being a police investigation, especially if it's an essay misconduct. It sounds wild, but let's carry on. It comes after it emerged that here he is again, Dr. William OReilly, the Don then in charge of student welfare at Trinity Hall, Cambridge's fifth oldest college, appointed a panel to investigate essay allegations against a male student, then gave evidence to the panel in support of the accused. Well, quick question to you guys. Why do you think Dr. William OReilly would be in support of the accused? We all know the answer to that question. It's because he himself has been accused of the same thing. Let's carry on. On Friday night, Trinity Hall announced that both OReilly and the college's master, the Reverend Canon Dr. Jeremy Morris, were stepping back from their duties until a separate panel of Cambridge Fellows issues a report on the 2nd of March on what the college should do. So, by the way, this date coincides quite nicely with the lady that was speaking. She hasn't mentioned who her accused is, and I'm not saying that it's Dr. William OReilly, but I'm saying he is a part, definitely, of the same dispensation, that same kind of environment of what she's talking about, cover-ups, that she's, you know, that she was complaining about. He's a part of that environment. I'm not saying, you know, I have no right to say that he's the one who's conducted what she was talking about, but we know that he's definitely been named here in this article as someone who's perhaps contributing to the fact that these things aren't being investigated with the kind of rigor they're supposed to. Imagine if this was a black man. Just imagine. Let me carry on. The letter's author, Kate Littman, women's officer at the Students' Union, this case is about more than individual failings. It's about an institution-wide failure to protect survivors and tackle severe essay violence. That's why we believe it's crucial for colleges to commit to a centralized, independent system for handling cases of essay misconduct. Trinity Hall, whose alumni, including Stephen Hawking, Rachel Weisz, Jeffrey Howie, is a part of Cambridge University's college system responsible for its own internal affairs. I mean, who made that decision? That is just an old boys club on crack. That's just crazy. Like that's when you know these people are so used to not seeing any accountability or justice that they've actually got it written into the legal institution that when serious accusations are made, potentially the most serious accusations that can be brought against individuals, the colleges will be responsible for investigating themselves, and you can't bring in anybody independent. That is crazy. That is almost guaranteed to not bring any kind of justice. An investigation published last week by the news website Tortoise revealed that 3 female students told academic staff in February 2018 that they had been essayed by a male student. He denied the allegations. 2 of the women made formal complaints, which were tested at a disciplinary hearing by a panel of dons appointed by, here he is again, OReilly, who was Trinity Hall's acting senior tutor. According to Tortoise, such a weird word. According to Tortoise, excuse me, OReilly had a close relationship with the accused student. Oh, isn't that a thing? Wow. And gave evidence to the panel. The panel cleared the student of wrongdoing, but raised concerns that another academic, Dr. Nicholas Guyot, had acted inappropriately by helping the woman to draft their complaints. Oh, wow. So they're coming at the academic who helped the woman to draft their complaints and saying, actually, you're the guilty one. Doesn't this sound like what's happening to Dr. Jason Arday? Isn't this crazy? It's like, actually, not only do we find this student innocent of the claims, I, Dr. William OReilly, think that you helping these people to draft the complaint are the criminal. Could you, in what world is a university or someone in a senior position who says, yeah, you should submit a complaint, here's the procedure to do so, then acting inappropriately? These people are a absolute cabal. Guyot was placed under investigation. Exactly what they do to us, isn't it? Isn't it exactly what they do to us? Vilify us for wanting justice. Vilify us for wanting justice. And ultimately cleared, but did not regain his pastoral role. My God, so he was demoted as a result of helping these girls to draft their complaint. And look at this, he later chose to resign and has become a fellow at another Cambridge college. Guys, this is wild. This really is a cabal of protectionism for SA. Let's call it what it is. Littman's letter, which is backed by 18 student groups, said, "We believe that Trinity Hall case shines a light on broader issue in the collegiate university." So bear in mind, Trinity Hall, the senior lecturer there is this William OReilly, the plagiarist, the convicted plagiarist, the serial plagiarist, the one who can't write his own papers, the academic who we don't know is even capable of academics. He seems to just be there. I mean, guys, you can read this for yourself. This person's rap sheet is vile. This is a vile individual, and he is sitting very comfortable and very pretty in his position. And they're telling you about Dr. Arday. Don't tell me about Dr. Arday. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what you say about him. Nothing he has done is even a smidgen of what we're being faced with here. It's not even, it's just not even worth discussing. I don't care if Dr. Arday had in the CV, I went to the moon and back. You know, I flew to the moon with, you know, you know what I mean? I flew to the moon with the wings of horror. I don't care what you guys say about him. It doesn't matter, because it's not coming anywhere close to this guy. This guy's a thief. This guy has been accused of SA. This guy has got people out of SA, and this guy has vilified and demonized people who have tried to find justice. This is horrendous. This is horrendous, and forces us to seriously question the ability of any college to adequately handle SA misconduct cases. Even if a college has a policy which represents good practice on paper, when complaints are administered by untrained individuals embedded in a close-knit community, there is no guarantee that the policy will be properly followed. Well, respectfully, welcome to our world. Yeah, welcome to our world. That is the experience of any Black person living in diaspora. Yeah, that is what that is. Guys, give me one moment. Hi guys, sorry about that. The row, it added, was not limited to Trinity Hall. Every college will struggle with conflicts of interest within a relatively small environment, as well as a lack of proper training and expertise. Every year, the Women's Campaign hears from students who found their case quietly dropped or came up against members of college staff who lack the knowledge or inclination to support them. In a measure of how strongly students feel, more than 220 have signed another letter criticizing the history faculty for failing to investigate O'Reilly's conduct. Okay, how much is on this guy's rap sheet? Plagiarism, SA, misconduct, still there, enjoying his very long, luxurious and undisturbed, you know, time as a professor, probably highly respected and regarded. All of this is under the rug now. All that nonsense. Don't worry about all of that SA nonsense. No, that's all in the past. Don't worry. It's all in the past. Oh, this is a good paper. What did you call it? It's really good. Really good. I'll just take that from you. Thank you very much. We all know what he's got to do. Anyway, let's carry on. Last year, the college was engulfed in a row about Dr. Peter Hutchinson, a former fellow who was the subject of a essay complaint from 10 students in 2015. Goodness me, 10 students. He was reinstated as a fellow last year. Oh my goodness. And then resigned after outcry. Jeez Louise, these guys are serial with it. It emerged last week that in 2015, he had self-published a essay charged novel under a pseudonym about academics watching students having, these guys are sick, seriously. So he did it and then he published a novel about it. He did it and then he published a novel. Guys, he did the crime and then self-published a novel about it. And they're telling you about Dr. Arday, talking about how deluded this guy, delusional, talking about delusional like it's a crime, even though I don't think he's delusional, but let's say he was. I'd prefer a delusional professor, yeah, than a convicted plagiarist, a definite essay, someone who's been had multiple claims made against him in terms of misconduct. Who would you prefer as your lecturer? Why doesn't the media care? We know the answer to the question. I'm just continuing to ask the question so that at every juncture we can reevaluate what's taking place with Dr. Arday and understand this is targeted, racist attack with no precedence. And if they wanted to come after a lecturer, they have had every opportunity in Cambridge to take down corrupt and evil people, and they've never even tried. They've never even tried. Let's carry on. A Cambridge University spokesman said that the faculty takes its safeguarding responsibilities extremely seriously. It regards the welfare of its students as its highest priority. It also has a duty of care to a member of staff who is not under investigation for any offence and who protests his innocence. At the present time, Dr. William OReilly has voluntarily and temporarily stepped back from his teaching and supervising. Well, he's back now, okay? He might have temporarily stepped down until the heat comes off, knowing that the media won't care because he's a white male. And then as soon as the heat was off, he took his position right back again. A spokesperson for OReilly said, Dr. OReilly believes he acted with integrity and followed appropriate safeguarding advice throughout the various internal processes at Trinity Hall. He rejects any suggestion that he behaved improperly and is appalled that what should have been confidential procedures have been made public. What mean like your plagiarism? Was you appalled that that was made public as well, even though you did it? Yeah, even though you did it and they said that it was an accident, it was accidental and it was negligent. He just kind of like slipped on Control V. Whoops. Whoops, Control C. Whoops, Control V. If I had, you know what? Let me take that back. I don't even think he copied and pasted. I just think he took the articles in full. He just clicked open and then added a sentence before and a sentence after. That's all he did. Yeah. That's all this guy did. Put his name, he just open, edit, erase name, replace Dr. William OReilly, author, and save. That's what the dude did. Yeah, that's what the dude did. Just open and save. Oh, Lord. This article was amended on 23rd of February 2020 to clarify details of the investigation concerning Dr. Nicholas Guyot, in which he was exonerated and the circumstances of his later resignation. So he was exonerated. I wonder by whom. Anyway, let's leave that aside. We're nearly there now, guys. Okay. Let's read the final one. And this one focuses more in, once again, on Trinity Hall and Dr. OReilly, William OReilly, who seems to be getting away with murder. You know, well, he hasn't done that yet, allegedly, and probably will not. You know, so let me not miss. But guys, I mean, come on. Kaluga said he top and tailed. Yeah, exactly. That's all he did. Top and tail. Signed, William OReilly. There you go. And submit. Concerns raised of potential conflicts of interest in Trinity Hall's mishandling of essay allegations. A new investigation describes Trinity Hall as full of secrets, in which close-knit group of tutors mishandled multiple essay complaints in early 2018. 18. There's Reverend Jeremy Morris, Master of Trinity Hall. A detailed investigation by Tortoise Media has revealed that last year, Trinity Hall acting senior tutor, Dr. William OReilly, he really is an infamous individual, isn't he? Oversaw a disciplinary process involving multiple women's reports of being essayed by a student who was said to have close relationship with OReilly. Okay, if this is going to read roughly the same thing, I won't read through it again. Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, because you know what? I mean, I'll leave the links in the description, but I'm kind of happy with that. I wanted this live stream to be under an hour. I didn't want it to be too long, and I've kind of covered what I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah, I kind of covered what I wanted to share with you guys. This is what's taken place historically at Cambridge University. The perpetrators of these multiple crimes are still there, have never faced any discipline, and more importantly, have never faced a media onslaught, even a fraction, 0.00001% of what Dr. Jason Arday is currently facing. The BBC didn't care. The news outlets didn't care. His face wasn't plastered everywhere, even though he committed, I would say, if we was going to, do a weight comparison, probably about 100 times worse crimes than what Dr. Arday is being accused of. Like, just exponentially worse. Like, I'm sure Dr. Arday would take what he's done over essay charges, full plagiarism of a student's work. So they're like, oh, he plagiarized his thingy, and then they bring up like one sentence here and one sentence there, and they're like, no, it's not plagiarism, it's just bad referencing. This guy, 12 pages of an article that he then submitted. Yeah, that's done and dusted. 12 pages, 100% you've copied verbatim. And they turn around like, oh no, that's not plagiarism. Media doesn't care. No one cares. Oh no, he's still there. White male privilege. So all of you who are like, oh, cope more, sieve more, like, people leave their little comments. It's like, oh, there's no such thing as racism. Guys, like, we could cite stuff like this all day long. The one thing that exists is white male privilege. The one thing that doesn't exist is this whole idea of there being some kind of woke conspiracy to unseat the white male from power. That's the thing that doesn't exist. White male privilege is intact. White male privilege remains undefeated. White male privilege still has its victims, even in its own race. White females are the victims. Brown people are the victims. Black people are the, undisputed champions of white male supremacy in terms of victims. So let's not try and kid anybody. You guys are having, a whale of a time committing crimes with impunity, knowing that the media is never going to turn on you, knowing that it's very unlikely that as long as the people bringing the accusation against you isn't another white male, you are 99% sure that you're going to get away with it. That is the nature of your criminal cabal. And unfortunately for you, we're going to continue to expose that. So guys, I want you to do me a favor, hit the likes up if you haven't done it already. Please guys, share this video, shout out my mods in the chat. I will check out Henry Court, Fabrice. I'll check out Henry Court, but please guys, share this video. Let's get it out there. Let's get the heat and the attention off of Dr. Jason Arday as much as we can. Let's talk about this double standards. Let's talk about this inequality. Let's put it into everybody's view so they can no longer hide behind their self-righteousness. They can no longer hide behind their false, moral outrage, their selective outrage, and they're forced to face the fact. And the fact of the matter is, white male privilege is the biggest threat to academia. White male privilege is the biggest threat to progress. White male privilege is the biggest perpetrator of crimes. And it's not some individual phenom called Dr. Arday who you don't like because he's achieved too much in such a small space of time. I don't care about the slight kind of like, oh, well, he's got an inconsistency here or there. I don't care about all of that. His rap sheet in terms of his backstory is squeaky clean in comparison to the characters that we've been discussing today, particularly Dr. William OReilly. So I hope you guys continue to share this, discuss it. Let's get it out there and let's get people talking about it. On that note, I'm gonna shoot. Thank you for joining me, guys. I appreciate all of you. And leave a like I said, leave a comment in the comments and share this. You know, let's get it out, talking and discussing this. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.